welcome everyone to this morning or this evening or this afternoon's Mapathon. You might not. My name is Erica Nunez. I work with the U.S. Department of State's MapGive initiative. For those who are just learning about us today, this is a public diplomacy initiative around open mapping. We hope to bring the State Department, its global reach, its global personnel, its its technical expertise, its programming in connection with this really wonderful, really impactful open mapping community. So we try to be a bridge builder where we can, and part of that is through hosting events like this. Part of that is by keeping up relationships with really wonderful groups like Kathmandu Living Labs, who we've partnered with here today. And so we've exciting news that some of you may be familiar with, may not. The last year, we've tried to really support these relationships that we've built over the years with local mapping organizations that we've just been seeing getting better and better. And so we see a lot of potential in supporting local projects through regional networking opportunities and building these partnerships. So forgive all of my beeping, please, as more people join. That's only a good thing. But today's Mapathon is co-hosted with our MapGive Participatory Mapping Partnership in the Asia Pacific region. And so Kathmandu Living Labs is our technical expert in the region, our local hub lead, if you will. And so the genesis of this Mapathon was letting them take the lead with finding, discovering, organizing a mapping project, finding local organizations who could really use this data for good, which we'll hear much more about as we go into today's presentations. I just wanted to quickly set the scene for you all, not take too many minutes. And yeah, thank you for being here. So as you see, there's a survey link up. Maybe Shashish, can we go to the next slide? We'll give you this survey link again. Or if you don't mind, maybe just refreshing that survey link every few minutes for all of the people joining us. So we'll give you a few minutes to take the survey link again in a moment here. But let's start off with a brief, quick agenda overview so you know what to expect today. So you're already getting this first part, a welcome from MapGive and the survey link. And then we will move it over to other colleagues in our MapGive initiative to give you a bit more detail. And we'll hear about maybe just general support to open data and open mapping from US Embassy Kathmandu colleagues. And then we'll turn it over to Dr. Nama for an overview of the participatory mapping partnership that he's been helping to, and Kathmandu Living Labs' role in this. And then we'll go to the Nepal Red Cross Society for some use case of how OpenStreetMap people in their work. And we'll give it back to Kathmandu Living Labs for a mapping overview. You'll get more what we're mapping today. And then what we'll do today is we'll move into breakout rooms for the actual thing. If you're a beginner, if this is somewhat new to you, there'll be a beginner room that will start off with a training, and everyone will be using, or the presenters will be using ID Editor, which is the best entryway to getting started. And we will have another breakout room for those who want to map alongside others using JAWSOM. Both rooms will have facilitators, so you'll be able to, off each other. And then we will also have one more breakout room where if you want to talk more with me, I'll be in a chat lounge. If you want to take a mapping break, just get to know each other a little bit, trying to recreate that really great feeling that you get from Mapathons when you get into a room with people with really common interests and goals. So final steps, closing remarks, you'll hear what's next from us, next events to look forward to, and I'll be keeping a tabs on statistics, so we'll know what we have accomplished here today and maybe highlight the power mappers of the day. With that being said, let's just keep it rolling. Less talking from me. Can we go to the next slide, please, Shashish? Can we actually go one slide further really quick, and then I'll just give it to Laura. Sorry. 2 slides. Apologies. There we go. So really quickly to maybe get the pre-event surveys done before we actually get into the event. That's the point, pre-event survey. So what we're trying to do with surveys, just so you're aware, is understand what this broader impact of Mapathons can be. I think oftentimes we're used to talking about Mapathons in terms of buildings, roads, mapped and added or edited. It can be very data oriented, but we're trying to see how these Mapathons can bring us together and understand that piece of it a little bit more. So you'll get a few more minutes to finish this pre-event survey, and then we'll send one more survey, FYI, at the end of the event, and you'll get it in your email as well, so you have a chance to update your thoughts. So you'll keep getting this link in the chat. But let's, so since you'll keep getting this link in this chat, I can hand it back over to Laura Klein. You know, I think that everyone's had a good amount of time to hopefully get started with the survey. I've gotten some private messages from people that say that they're done. So yeah, so let me just quickly introduce my MapGive partner in crime, Laura Klein. She works with me in the Humanitarian Information Unit, which is within the State Department's Office of the Geographer and Global Issues. And she has been the director of many of our offices, really impactful local capacity building programs when it comes to open mapping. So she's been the director of our Secondary Cities program, our Cities COVID Mitigation Mapping program, really a lot of the places where our office has worked directly with organizations to not only create data, but analyze it and answer questions. Without further ado, I hand it over to Laura Klein. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. What a great introduction. And let me join in on the welcome from MapGive. We're very pleased that you all could join us today, whether it's your evening, afternoon, or morning. Thank you so much. So she's just, next slide, please. So we wanted to share, as Erica so elegantly introduced, we have a number of programs we've worked on around the world for the past 10 to 15 years. You are joining us. We are pleased to be able to partner with Kathmandu Living Labs, who is our participatory mapping partnership hub for the Asia region, or as our geographer of the State Department calls it, the Geospatial Hub of Excellence. I like that name too. But we have worked across a number of countries with partners in the community and in the region. We are pleased that you are joining us today for another activity that's evidence of this partnership, and we look forward to continuing these partnerships throughout. We invite you to continue to participate and stay engaged with MapGive and Kathmandu Living Labs as we continue activities far beyond today. We know that this mapping that's being done either remotely or in person for humanitarian and development topics and issues really does have an impact on the ground. And we know that as a member of the US State Department, our relationship with yourselves, those in Nepal, those in the region and beyond, really does have an impact. And we're very pleased that you can join us for this short event today. I believe our colleague from the US Embassy Kathmandu has been able to log in. If you go ahead 2 slides, please, Sashish. Mr. DeMarc Schultz is joining us from US Embassy's American Citizen Services, where he's the chief there. And we've asked him to join us today just to provide a couple brief comments on the value of our relationship and why we do these things, because we love mapping and we know the value of map data, but it's a very important part of our relationship. DeMarc, are you able to speak?
I think so. Can you give me a thumbs up if the sound's okay, Laura?
It sounds great.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. And I apologize. I was having some technical errors on my side. And so I apologize if I slowed anyone down today. So as Laura mentioned, I'm from the U.S. Embassy in Kathmandu, Nepal. I'm the American Citizen Services Chief, but I'm also here representing our Regional Environment Hub for South Asia, a position I actually used to work with in a prior lifetime, and work with Laura and Erica on that as well. So a couple quick words from my side. This year, the United States and Nepal celebrated 75 years of relations together. And this Mapathon event is one example of that really strong partnership between our nations. Your work on this is going to provide essential mapping data that provides dividends for years to come. And so in that vein, I'd also like to add that my recognition and the recognition from the embassy about the great work of our partner organizations in this MapGive Asia Pacific Mapathon, Kathmandu Living Labs and Humanitarian OpenStreetMap team, who we've previously worked with in the Regional Environment Hub on multiple initiatives, including the Secondary Cities Program, which I worked on at one point, that mapped emergent cities like Pokhara, and the city's COVID-19 Mapping and Mitigation Project, or C2M2, that helped to map the impact of the pandemic on the tourism sector and provide recommendations to restart the tourism sector and associated livelihoods. Also very critical to the work I'm doing now. We've also worked with Humanitarian OpenStreetMap to host an Asia regional webinar on OpenStreetMapping and climate change to celebrate Earth Day that was earlier this year. And today's Mapathon, I will say, brings together, I'm seeing some of the photos, young in some cases, and dynamic individuals such as the folks joining us to map a couple of districts of Nepal, which experience natural disasters at somewhat a regular rate, including floods and landslides. And I'm very confident, and our Regional Environment Hub is as well, that the data created during this Mapathon will directly support that disaster response efforts in these disaster-prone areas. I think we all know Nepal is very vulnerable to landslides and floods due to its mountainous topography and its geological formation, which makes it an otherwise beautiful country, but also a disaster-prone one at times. And that mapping data that we're all working on here is essential to enable policymakers, city planners, disaster relief organizations, first responders, and others to quickly make decisions that improve public safety. So for example, if through your mapping effort you identify a potential floodplain with defined inundation levels, the data you provide to city and village planners could help create policies that prevent human settlements or infrastructures in these flood-prone areas. I think we've all seen plenty of images where that isn't done properly, and the results can sometimes be disastrous. So mapping initiatives like this one also help us establish baselines, which can help other countries strengthen their climate adaptation and resilience efforts. So the Regional Environment Office, the hub for South Asia, is committed to promoting and strengthening these kinds of mapping efforts in the region and working with partners like KLL and the Humanitarian OpenStreetMap team to harness that power of mapping technologies. So to conclude, let me just say I commend you all for participating in this really important event. Please take full advantage of this opportunity to improve your own mapping skills and expertise. And thank you very much for contributing to help map Nepal, strengthen Nepal's disaster preparedness, and really strengthen that relationship between our countries. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Demark, and overcoming all the technical issues. We couldn't have said it better ourselves. That was tremendous. Thank you. And next, I believe we have Dr. Nama Budatoke joining us from Kathmandu Living Labs.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It's so wonderful to see all of you here this evening. Thank you for making it great. MapGive and Kathmandu Living Labs have been working together for more than 6 years. And it has been an incredible partnership. We have thoroughly enjoyed, and I believe we have also been able to make good contributions in different ways, as Laura and Demark briefly mentioned. So our partnership started somewhere in 2016, right after Nepal earthquake in 2015, after a realization that a good map is so vital in times of crisis. So we started with what you call a secondary cities project in Pokhara, where we train hundreds of young people. We work with universities there and local communities, mapped critical infrastructure so nicely. And then all of this data is, of course, available in OpenStreetMap. But we have also developed a portal mobile app, and that makes me so happy that people are still, go to what the site called Prepare Pokhara, where you can explore the city, you can look at the kinds of resources we have in the city. And then we also had an opportunity to work in India, Indore. Indore is a big city, it's about 2 million people. We mapped all the health infrastructure in Indore. The idea was pretty similar to what it is in Pokhara, and the government, the local government in Indore was so excited, and they welcomed the project. Anyway, both the projects as part of the secondary cities project was very exciting. And then after COVID-19, we had an opportunity to continue our partnership with MapGive with what do you call the C2M2, Cities COVID Mitigation and Mapping Project. And as part of the project, we work in Mongolia, in the city of Ulaanbaatar, with our amazing partner, Public Labs Mongolia, in Bangladesh, Dhaka, with our another partner, great partner, Bangladesh Open Innovation Lab, and in Nepal. So C2M2 focus in 3 countries, 3 cities. Nepal focus on tourism. We try to understand what is the impact of COVID to the workers and businesses in tourism sector. And of course, I didn't have time to go into detail, but that had generated a very important insight that we were able to pass to the government. So in Bangladesh, we were trying to understand the impact of COVID in internal migration, and in Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia, to fill the gap, disproportionate access to health facilities, health information. That has been a very exciting experience. And now at the third phase, after second series, then C2M2, and then we have entered into the third phase of our partnership, which is what we call a PMP, Participatory Mapping Partnership Project. We started it last year. And as part of this project, we're beginning to ask some of the deep questions. The question is, how can we ensure that every piece of data we produce gets effectively used, in decision-making and planning? Production of data is important thing, but what is equally important is also the use of the data, because without use, we probably won't be able to see the kind of impact we all love to see. So overall, it has been a wonderful partnership again, and then through our work with MapGive, we have worked with several other partners in each of these countries. So we continue to do that. So again, thank you very much, Laura and Erica, so for this wonderful opportunity. So I would like to mention one thing, and that's kind of a common thread from all of these projects, in addition to many other things, is the capacity building, training, bringing young people together, networking plus learning. And so we have given trainings to, I would say, hundreds and hundreds of people through this partnership. And today we do have yet one more kind of a training. I'm very excited. When we have a Mapathon, sometimes people very narrowly see Mapathon as mapping exercise, but I see mapping much more than Mapathon, more than mapping is understanding the world we live. Is developing our deep insight about the surroundings, about the world, and even strengthening democracy, because a bunch of people coming from different parts of the world coming together this evening is an example of that's what I said. Finally, to conclude, what we do as part of PNP, Nepal will be mapping a small area, Udayapur, a small district in Nepal. That's a very local effort. But let us not forget our mapping in Udayapur, a very tiny place, actually contributes to the global movement that we all are having. We all are working together. So every piece of contribution we make through this Mapathon or outside this Mapathon is important. Even the smallest contribution is I would say as important as the big contribution, because all these small contributions add up together. So anyway, thank you for joining to this Mapathon today. This is not just joining the Mapathon, you're joining, the part of that big global silent movement that's going throughout the world. So in Asia Pacific, you probably also know that there is a hot open mapping hub. I'm also the regional director for that. So whatever we do here also contributes to the regional movement. Let's work together because we have a wonderful opportunity to make a difference through what we've been doing for years, and we'll continue to do that. Thank you again. MapGive, Demark, and also glad to see Demark here and listen to your remarks. Thank you so much. So I think I need to pass it to now our colleague from Nepal Red Cross. Laraji, feel free. Yes, okay, it's not like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Namrata sir, and MapGive Asia for providing us this opportunity to share what we have done with using this open state map in Nepal Red Cross Society. First, I would like to thank KLL for remembering us that we are also working in this sector. I just want to share the PPT if you allow me to share the screen. Sashi sir.
You should have those privileges now.
Okay, this is the sorry. Is it sharing?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, thank you. Just first, I would like to share something about Nepal Red Cross Society. Many of you know Nepal Red Cross Society, the largest humanitarian organization working in Nepal with its network over the country. Involvement of different volunteers, youth volunteers, junior youth Red Cross circle in school, colleges. Also, the Nepal Red Cross Society used to work in different sectors, primarily in disaster management, emergency services, health service, wash service, blood transfusion service, restoring family link, etc. These are the primary working area of Nepal Red Cross Society. I just want to share those only information of Nepal Red Cross Society, who are not familiar with the Red Cross Society. Also, for the detail, you can reach to the website of nrcs.org or more. Now I would like to share what we are doing with this open state map in Nepal Red Cross Society, how we are using this. First, we are using the open state map as the data source. We are also one contributor to the open state map. We take data from the open state map, also we also contribute in that. And those map we use mainly to conduct vulnerability capacity assessment data collection tool as the base map in the community household level mapping. Like this, we have done lots of household level mapping in the community where we are working the different part of Nepal. A different type of map using the OpenStreetMap as evacuation mapping, safe evacuation mapping, hazards, the location map of the different resources in the communities. These are some examples. And what we use to collect the data, that I want to share. We use data collection in two modes. One is using the smartphone, as all the youth and who are familiar with the smartphone who can use those. And next we use the hard copy map in the community using the base map. Likewise, we use in the community, we go and train the community people to collect the data. Thus, these are some pictures. And next we collect with the hard copy map. As you seen in the picture, first we prepare those maps and go into the community to collect the information of resources, capacities. Those can be used in the humanitarian sector to response, preparedness, those type of information we collect and upload in the map. One thing main is that previously there is the trend of producing the map, as you see on the left side, that those maps are prepared in the community people with the color. They use this kind of color to make the map and the community where what are the resources, what are the capacities in the community for the vulnerability capacity and assessment. Now we converted that the tradition map into the digital one with the OpenStreetMap as the base map, and all the information we collect from the community we upload in the OpenStreetMap, and finally we can produce those type of map replacing that the previous one. And this mainly we use those map as the VCA map in the Red Cross Society, and beside that we use OpenStreetMap in the wash sector, in the health sector. Different with the different sector we use those map, but mainly focusing to the VCA. That information we collect from the VCA are more important in the implementation of the project in the field. That's why more we are focusing on those information, and those map we can use for the program coverage area, for the location of location of targeting communities, resources, for the mainly planning process of the project, for the search and rescue, for response, and find the strategic location for preparation of search and rescue materials and NFRI kits to find out the routes. As I already shared that we have prepared map evacuation safe place, and those community who can use those routes in the emergency for the safe evacuation. And likewise we use for the alternate routes of the rescue. It will help to the line agency to find out capacities. And mainly in nowadays the local government are more they are more focusing to the and those data while they are doing the decision. Sorry, this is all for the decision making process. They use those map in the response. Also, those data can be used as the secondary data for the other organization who are working in the same sector. Sorry. I have just calculated the few with this short available time. If you have any queries regarding this.
I I wonder if we can save questions if you have time. Maybe you can join us in the chat lounge so that we can get to mapping. So if anyone does have questions, thank you so much for this presentation. I'm sure that people would love to talk to you more. So if you can join that room.
Okay, I will join and continue with this. If there are any questions, I will reply on chat as well.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Okay, welcome. Thank you all.
Can we move Shishish to the next slide, please? That's you. So Shishish has the important and much awaited role of describing the mapping overview today. So we're going to hear from Shishish Maharjan, who's one of the people in Kathmandu Living Labs who helped organize and make this project happen. He's going to give us an overview of the needs in this area and more information about just the places that we're mapping today. So thank you, Shishish.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and namaste. I am Sashish Morajan, and I work with KLL as Geospatial Lead. And I'm going to give you a brief information about today's mapping task. So today we are going to map 2 districts that lies in eastern region of Nepal. And, like in previously also, we have mentioned that Nepal has like a unique geography, right? So within very small and short distance, there is like a range of topography, and we can see the changes in topography. And we have like within a short range, we have plain lands and also like one of the tallest mountains. And in between there are mid hills called Chudi and Mahabharat ranges. And due to this like a unique topography, we have very rich biodiversity and very beautiful landscape. However, due to this landscape, also we have different challenges such as different disasters. Every year, there are landslides and floods in every most of the part of the Nepal. And the districts that we are mapping today, they are Udayapur and Siraha. And you can see in a picture, this is a picture from August this year, 2022. So there was huge flood in Udayapur district, and that, inundating large land and, displacing thousands of people and destroying prepararies. And Siraha also get, a lot of flood. So, due to this, because of landscape and erratic rainfall and climatic conditions, these districts, face, disaster every year. So, so today, we'll be mapping these 2 districts with the 2 districts. And I would also like to show you this map. This map was prepared by Open Mapping Hub, Asia Pacific. And you can see these 2 districts are, high risk areas and also less mapped. In OpenStreetMap data, there we have very less data, and these are very vulnerable districts in aspect of disasters. So today we are going to map these 2 districts. And we hope that this data that we digitize today will be helpful to the organizations like Nepal Red Cross Society that are really working on the ground. So we have 2 different tasks for 2 different districts. We'll be sharing the links of these tasks in the chat room shortly. So you can choose any one of these 2 tasks. So if you already have your account in OpenStreetMap, you can just log in to the tasking manager and choose the tasks. And if you don't have your account, you can just go to openstreetmap.org, create an account, and later on you can just go to the tasking manager and choose the tasks. And we will have like different breakout rooms for different user groups. Maybe Erica will be sharing this breakout room shortly, and let's meet in the breakout rooms. Enjoy mapping, everyone. Back to Erica.
Yeah, thank you, Shashish. I will open up these breakout rooms in just a moment. Let's see. So you'll see 3 options. Room A, beginner mappers, ID editor. Room B, advanced mappers and JOSM. And then the third room that we've been mentioning, the lounge, for mapping breaks, chatting, and talking more with some of our presenters from today. So without further ado, I'm going to open all the rooms, and happy mapping, everyone. If you'd like to change your room, just you're curious about the room that you didn't join at first, you all have permission to come and go from them as you please. I've given you this autonomy, so far you are all unassigned. So just pick the room that that seems most comfortable for you today. And if you would like help, I'm just hanging out here for a few minutes if anyone has questions. If you would like help being a room, feel free to drop it in the chat. Say, please send me to the beginner room. Please send me to the JOSM room. I'm happy to move you around.
So yeah, Yahoo Map was the first mapping project, and 6 people got it right. So let's see the scoreboard. Okay, Ades over here got the highest point, and followed by Kat, Tiger Lady, Sweetie, Manisha Adhikari, Erica. So yeah, best of luck, people. Now let's move on to the next question. Answer fast to get more points. So 8 people got it right. The official birthday of OpenStreetMap is 9th August. Let's check our leaderboard. So yeah, Kat just came first, followed by Manish Adhikari with very small score difference, and Ades is third. Gaurav was the fastest for this question and is in the 4th position, and Sunil is 5th position. So yeah, guys, just try to give the answer as fast as possible and correct one too. Now let's move on to our third question. So keep your eyes on your screen and answer fast to get more points. Where is the node 1 of OpenStreetMap? Very interesting question. So yeah, the node 1 of OpenStreetMap is Radio Tower in the central Italy. if you go through the census history of this radio tower, you will get to see quite interesting changes being made over the time. If you are interested, you can just go and check the OpenStreetMap website and see the census history. So now let's move on to the leaderboard. Okay, Adesh now has just topped the list, I guess. And yeah, Adesh is the fastest and first, both. Who and Cat is second, Manis Adhikari third. Now, this is the second last question of our quiz, and best of luck, people. Which entity owns OpenStreetMap? So yeah, the correct answer here is OpenStreetMap community. As the screen says, or the answer or the response says, most of the people usually get confused that OpenStreetMap is owned by OpenStreetMap Foundation. But no, the OpenStreetMap has always been and always will be owned by the OpenStreetMap community. OpenStreetMap Foundation is there to just regulate and monitor, or what you say, just make the OpenStreetMap activities smooth and good going. It's a regulation body, not the body that claims the ownership over OpenStreetMap. So OpenStreetMap is owned by its own OpenStreetMapping community. So yeah, Adesh is leading the leaderboard, and Joss is second, Erika third. So now let's move on to our final question of this session. Best of luck, and here we go. Wait. So yeah, there are a number of tags used in OpenStreetMap, and the layer is equals to 0 is the non-existent tag. Level equals to 1, -1, 0 are the tags that we use for the different levels like bridge, waterways, or roads, or canals, tunnels, this kind of thing. And layer equals to 0. This tag is non-existent. We do not use this tag in OpenStreetMap. So let's check our leaderboard now. So yeah, Addis over here, Joss, Andrew, Agro. So congratulations, Addis. You won the quiz, OSM quiz session that we just had. And thank you so much for all the participants too. I hope this session was quite interesting to you, and it was knowledgeable too. We had some interesting OSM related questions, and I hope you enjoyed the quiz.